Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are giving you, well, kind of a monumental shortcut into the essential strategies of professional procurement. If your job involves making a compelling case to senior management to buy anything, from new software to raw materials, this is really your blueprint.
Yeah. Our mission today is pretty laser focused. We're extracting actionable knowledge from technical frameworks used by experts globally.
Right.
We're moving you from just identifying a requirement to delivering a, financially bulletproof business case. We'll cover defining requirements precisely, calculating true cost of ownership, and strategically analyzing that supplier market.
The big picture here is that you absolutely need a structured approach. It helps manage complexity, it manages costs effectively, and that structure, it starts with classifying the purchase itself.
Exactly. Every single procurement decision really falls into one of three buckets, and it's based on the effort involved and, crucially, the inherent risk.
Okay.
So the baseline, lowest effort bucket, that's the straight rebuy.
Yeah.
These are routine things, items you buy repeatedly from an existing, already approved supplier, like think stationery, ink.
MRO items.
Yeah, MRO items, maintenance, repair, operation supplies. The risk is low, so the process ideally should be really streamlined.
Makes sense. So moving up the scale, then you hit the modified rebuy. This is where you've sourced the item or service before, but now you need like a minor adjustment.
Right. Maybe you need to increase the quantity quite a bit or update a specification, like switching from one grade of seal to another, perhaps.
Okay, yeah. So it requires some effort, usually means renegotiation.
It often does. But here's where I have a question for you, though. What determines the line where a modified rebuy tips over into being a new purchase?
Good question.
Is it just a quantity change, or does it have to be something more fundamental, like a change in material or use?
That's a really crucial distinction. It becomes a new purchase. That's the highest risk, highest effort category when you're buying something for the very first time. Or if the change is so fundamental, it creates entirely new risk profiles, like, say, sourcing a completely new piece of capital equipment.
Or a whole new product line's supply chain.
Exactly. That demands the most detailed research, the most justification, just because the uncertainty is so much higher.
So knowing the type of purchase dictates the level of analysis needed, but the actual analysis of the need itself, that's really determined by the organization's mission.
Right. Like, is it profit or service?
Precisely. A private company, it's about maximizing profit. A public body, it's more focused on nonprofit service delivery. And that mission frames which requirements matter most.
Which brings us neatly to the RQSCI model.
I love RQSCI. It sounds cool. Rock skis. But more importantly, it forces procurement pros to prioritize requirements beyond just, the lowest price tag.
Yeah, it's a framework.
It gives us 6 themes to specify business needs, and it starts with the things you just cannot compromise on.
First up is R for regulatory. These are the legal must-haves. Statutory requirements, safety standards.
Non-negotiable. Absolutely. If you fail here, the deal's basically dead. Second is A for assurance of supply. This is all about continuity.
So can they actually deliver reliably?
Yeah, looking at the supplier's financial stability, their capacity to deliver consistently over the long haul.
Okay. Then comes Q for quality. Is it fit for purpose? Is it consistent?
Followed by S for service requirements. This covers things like flexibility, availability, maybe post-sales support.
Yeah, those intangibles that often make or break the actual experience.
Definitely. Then, number 5 is the often misplaced C for cost.
Right, not number 1.
Exactly. Importantly, cost should really only be considered after those first 4 factors are guaranteed.
So you ask, what's the best value among the suppliers who meet our minimums on regulatory, assurance, quality, and service?
That's the idea. And finally, for innovation. This is where you look beyond the basic requirement.
Finding ways to improve performance or customer experience.
Or efficiency, yeah. It's about leveraging the supply chain to maybe gain a competitive edge.
Okay, that RAQSCI structure is essential for defining the requirement clearly. But, often procurement isn't starting from a blank slate. It's starting because there's a problem.
Exactly right. Procurement often kicks off because of some performance gap. But if you just treat the symptom
instead of the root cause,
you're just throwing money down a well, basically. We need techniques to get past those surface issues.
So how do we categorize problems?
Well, we tend to define 2 types. Closed problems are measurable. Clear deviations from what should happen. a material price suddenly jumped or a machine broke down.
Something went wrong that shouldn't have. Okay.
Right. And open-ended problems are more like blockages stopping a forward objective, like we need to achieve a 10% cost reduction overall. It's less about something breaking, more about achieving a goal.
Got it. So for those closed problems, the essential deep dive technique, the one everyone should know, is the 5 whys analysis.
Sounds almost deceptively simple, doesn't it?
It does. You just ask, why is this happening 5 times? Or, enough successive times until you hit the true origin.
Let's use that hospital case study example. It's quite stark. The initial issue. Patient operations were being canceled.
Okay, why?
Why? Well, no sterile equipment was available.
Hey, why?
Because there were insufficient sets of sterile equipment.
So buy more equipment. Seems obvious.
Seems obvious, but keep going. Why were there insufficient sets? The sterilizing process itself was taking too long.
Okay. Why that?
Because the sterilizers weren't being used properly. And the final why, the root cause.
Let me guess. Training.
Bingo. Not all personnel had been trained on the proper sequence for using the sterilizers efficiently.
Wow. Okay, so if management had stopped after maybe the second why, insufficient sets, the solution looks like buying millions in new equipment.
Which would have been expensive and ultimately wrong. The actual effective and far cheaper solution was just implementing a better mandatory training program.
That really shows the power of finding the root cause. I might start using the 5 whys on my kids. Maybe find out why shoes go missing.
Well, building on that thought, for really complex, closed problems where the stakes are maybe astronomical, sometimes you need something even more rigorous than the 5 whys.
Like what?
This is where the Kepner-Trigo approach comes in.
Okay, that sounds technical. NASA engineers, right. Apollo 13.
That's the one. Developed in part by them. But here's the core idea, the nugget. Kepner-Trigo forces you to move past emotion and assumptions by defining the problem really precisely, geographically, temporally.
How does that work?
You ask, what is the problem? And crucially, what is it not? Where is it occurring? And where is it not? When did it start? And when did it not exist?
So it creates boundaries around the problem.
Exactly. By creating that exhaustive distinction, you strip away assumptions and make sure the analysis proceeds from verifiable facts, not just, anecdotal evidence or gut feelings.
Perfect. Okay, so now we understand the true need using RAQSCI. And we've dug down to the true cause of the problem using 5 whys, or maybe Kepner-Trigo. Now we have to justify the money.
The dollar amount, yeah. This brings us to cost estimation for the business case. But maybe a quick review of the basics first.
Good idea.
We have our standard pairs, right? Direct costs tied directly to making the product. Raw materials, maybe production labor.
And indirect costs, or overheads. Things needed to run the business but not easily pinned to one product. Marketing. HR staff salaries.
Exactly. And then thinking about how they behave relative to output, fixed costs. They don't change whether you produce 1 unit or 1,000.
Like your rent or the depreciation on machinery.
Right. And variable costs, which change directly with output. More raw material needed for more products, for instance.
Okay, basics covered. But the core concept here, the really powerful one for procurement, is moving beyond just the simple purchase price.
Absolutely. We must calculate the whole life asset management, WLAM costs, or, as it's maybe more commonly known, total cost of ownership, TCO.
Right, TCO. And if your manager or anyone you're presenting to is only focused on that initial acquisition price, this TCO framework gives you the immediate factual language to show they might actually be losing money long term.
It's true. Focusing only on what you paid to acquire the asset. That often misses, 65% or even more of its true lifetime expense.
It's huge. So WLAM, or TCO, demands we categorize everything.
Everything. Beyond the initial acquisition cost, the purchase price, delivery, installation, we have to look at processing and maintenance cost.
Like storage, training staff, spare parts inventory.
All of that. Then operating costs, think energy usage, consumables, labor to run it. And finally, the often forgotten end-of-life costs.
Disposal, recycling, decommissioning.
Yep, all part of the total picture.
Wait, let's pause on that TCO nugget example because it's genuinely shocking sometimes. The one from the sources. A simple nickel metal hydride battery pack, right? 4 batteries.
That's the one. The purchase cost is $9. That's the acquisition cost, the number most people see and stop at.
Okay, $9. Seems cheap.
Right. But the total cost over the life of those rechargeable batteries, assuming, say, 1,000 recharge cycles.
Wow.
Well, it includes the cost to buy the recharging unit itself. Let's say that's $15.
Okay.
Then the cost of the electricity used to recharge them over their life, maybe $2. And even the small but necessary disposal costs at the end, perhaps 0 and 6 cents.
So add that all up. $9 plus $15 plus $2 plus zeros and 6 cents.
That means the total cost is $26.06.
Wow. That is a staggering difference. The acquisition cost, the $9, was less than 35% of the true cost of ownership.
Exactly.
And if that's true for a simple $9 battery pack, what does that mean for really complex assets, like a fleet vehicle? Or a new server farm that just eats power and needs constant maintenance contracts?
The implications are massive. TCO isn't just nice to have. It's pretty much non-negotiable for a persuasive business case.
Totally agree. Okay. Need defined, true cost known. Now we have to look outward. Analyze the market.
Yeah, a strong business case has to reflect a clear understanding of the competitive landscape, which is why we often turn to Porter's 5 forces.
Ah, the classic. These forces show us where the power really lies in any given industry, right?
Pretty much. Take supplier power. It's strong if there are very few substitutes for what they sell, or if the commodity is highly specialized or differentiated.
Like the airline manufacturing industry, Boeing and Airbus have immense supplier power.
Exactly. Conversely, buyer power is strong if you, the buyer, purchase huge volumes, or if you have low costs to switch suppliers, or maybe if you can accurately predict the supplier's own cost structure.
Like big buyers in the automotive industry often can.
Right. Understand that balance, who has the power, determines how aggressively you can or should negotiate.
Okay, so Porter gives us the industry view. How do we operationalize that market understanding for our specific purchases?
For that, we use probably the strategic cornerstone of modern procurement, the Kraljic Supply Positioning Matrix.
The Kraljic Matrix. Okay, it's that 2x2 grid, isn't it?
That's right. It segments every single item you buy based on 2 dimensions. The vertical axis is importance, think value, or profit impact.
How much does it matter to us?
Exactly. And the horizontal axis is supply risk complexity, or the reliability of the supply. Is it easy or hard to get?
Okay. Importance and risk. So that gives us 4 quadrants.
4 strategic quadrants, yeah. Let's visualize them. Top right, this is the most challenging quadrant, strategic items.
High importance, high risk.
Correct. These are critical components for the organization's future. Maybe a highly customized software solution or a rare earth mineral vital for production.
So the strategy here has to be long-term.
Absolutely. Focused on strategic alliances, partnerships, continuous collaboration with those key suppliers.
Got it. Then top left.
Top left are leverage items, high importance but low supply risk.
Ah, so these are important but easy to get from multiple sources, like maybe certain bulk commodities.
Exactly. We buy these in large quantities.
Yep.
We have the power here. So the strategy is heavy cost analysis, aggressive negotiation, maximizing our buying leverage.
Okay, leverage that power. Makes sense. What about bottom left?
Bottom left is the simplest quadrant. Routine items, low importance, low risk.
Office stationery again. Cleaning supplies.
Perfect examples.
Yep.
The strategy here is all about efficiency and standardization. Streamline the procurement process to minimize the effort and cost of just buying them. Get it done quickly.
Right. Don't waste time on low value, low risk stuff. And finally, bottom right. That sneaky one.
That's the one. Bottleneck items. Low importance, but high risk.
How does that work? Low value, but hard to get.
Yeah. The value itself might be low, but maybe the supply is unreliable, or there's only one niche supplier, or the technical complexity is high for some reason. If you run out, even though it's low value, maybe production grinds to a halt.
Ouch. So the strategy flips completely.
It does. It shifts entirely to securing continuity of supply. These items often require high priority attention, despite their low value, just to mitigate that risk.
Okay, that matrix really clarifies how to approach different types of spend.
It's fundamental. So we've kind of mapped the whole journey today, haven't we? Defining the need with RAQSCI.
Digging for the truth with the 5 whys.
Calculating the true cost with TCO.
And mapping the market with Porter and Kraljic.
We've built the analysis, but ultimately all this costing, this digging, this mapping, it's just fuel for one thing, really.
Walking into that boardroom with a completely bulletproof business case.
That's it. That case must directly connect these technical findings, the TCO numbers, the risk assessment, back to the organization's overall strategic objectives. That's how you compel senior management to act.
That's the goal. And as we close out, let's build on that crucial concept of justifying costs. We talked about how TCO gives you the true cost of an asset over its entire life. But, many organizations still spend significant time and effort on controlling budgets, monitoring variances, comparing planned costs to actual costs after the fact.
Standard practice for many.
Right. But it raises an important question, doesn't it? If we know the power of TCO for planning the true cost, How much of that time and effort spent monitoring the variance could be better spent on more strategic planning up front?
That's an interesting thought, like shifting effort from retrospective control to prospective planning.
Exactly. Specifically, maybe using techniques like zero-based budgeting.
ZBB. That forces you to justify every single expense, every cost center from scratch each year, rather than just tweaking last year's numbers.
Yeah. So if TCO shows the true cost of owning an asset, maybe ZBB forces the annual strategic justification of the entire cost structure needed to run that asset. It connects the two.
It could. It forces a justification of the why behind the spend annually. So maybe the final thought for you listening is, considering these tools, TCO,